I remain skeptical that any of this is actually going to happen, and I want to kind of broaden this conversation into one larger about immigration, specifically illegal immigration, because while the American public thinks that if you've been here over 10 years, you shouldn't be deported, that everyone deserves due process, even if you're here
enforce their order using the tools that are available, which are contempt, civil contempt or criminal contempt, directed at any of the individuals, the cabinet secretaries or other administration officials who are actually refusing to comply or carrying out unjust or unconstitutional actions.
I remain skeptical that any of this is actually going to happen, and I want to kind of broaden this conversation into one larger about immigration, specifically illegal immigration, because while the American public thinks that if you've been here over 10 years, you shouldn't be deported, that everyone deserves due process, even if you're here undocumented, the Republicans are lapping us when it comes to immigration. So just today, a new CNBC poll up 12.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't think that makes any sense. If Americans think that people shouldn't be deported if they've been here for a certain amount of time, why would they be lapping you?
On managing the southern border, up 7 on deporting illegals. And I think it was one of the main reasons that we lost the 2024 election was that we let hundreds of thousands, millions of people stream across the border. So what is the Democratic plan to show people that we're serious about this problem?
Okay, now this is important, guys. Please listen up. This is very important. This is one of them leaders of the Democratic Party. He's about to explain what the plan is, what they're supposed to do, what the Democrats' scheme or strategy is to deal with an obvious failure in the leadership, a failure of the Biden administration when it comes to immigration. Hakeem Jeffries is going to address that head on. Everybody buckle up. I'm about to have to be corrected here because Hakeem is going to break it down to what Democrats are going to do.
Well, we definitely have to be clear that we believe that we should have a secure border. That's first and foremost. And I think we've repeatedly endeavored to make that clear throughout this Congress. We have a broken immigration system, and it's got to be fixed. But it should be fixed in a bipartisan and comprehensive way. And we're open to having that discussion in good faith with people on the other side of the aisle when they're ready to have that discussion in good faith. That's not this moment. While at the same period of time, we're going to defend our values, which means we're going to defend dreamers, we're going to defend farm workers, we're going to defend law-abiding immigrant families. Because this is a country that is both anchored in the rule of law, but also a nation of immigrants. And we can hold those two things as true at the same period of time. But you're correct in your assessment that I think what hurt us in the last election, first and foremost, issues connected to the cost of living, related to the economy, which I'm sure we'll get into, but secondarily, that we were slow to act as an administration and as a party on the southern border crisis. And it hurt us not simply with traditional Republican voters or swing voters, but in some segments of our own base communities and in communities of color, including right here in New York.
See, one of the problems I have with the Democratic Party and a lot of the talking heads on YouTube and other platforms is that they want to frame the argument about the Democrats losing as a problem with voters. I mean, yeah, you didn't get enough votes, but the reason you didn't get any votes, or not enough votes, was totally self-inflicted. I mean, yeah, it's like a guy that can't get dates who doesn't wash his ass. Kind of hard to get dates when you smell badly and you don't brush your teeth, you don't comb your hair, and you call, and you call women names, you walk around, you know what I'm saying? You at clubs smacking women when they refuse to dance with you. I mean, I'm just saying, this is what, and you have on no deodorant. These are things that make women not want to go out with you. And you're like, well, these women just won't go out with me. They won't come. What's wrong with them? It's lots of reasons. But no one would be like, hey, stinky man, you're right. These women are just bad. What is wrong with them? They're not educated to how great you are. Please, somebody crack a window, please. Nah, that's not how things work. We have the intelligence to say, hey, guy, it's the reason why nobody wants to go with you. And that's the way I see the Democratic Party. They're at the club, sweaty, stinky, funky, rude, and borderline abusive. And then they want to blame voters. Family, even in this video, Hakeem Jeffries, when he was asked what he's going to do to win back voters, how's he going to deal with this situation? He just said we need to deal with the situation. Then he went on to state what the situation is and offered no real solution. He just talked. He just did his hand like this and said things very slowly that made no sense to fix anything, but it appeared like he was being articulate, but there was no articulation of an actual plan. I'm tired of hearing about the broken immigration system. The broken immigration system is only broken because you politicians won't fix it, because one group is running on deporting people and the other group is running on having people there to be deported. Meanwhile, all the other issues that affect us continue to go. I have to focus on it because the resource allocation that's going to these migrants needs to be spent with Black Americans. And I'm going to keep fighting that fight. You ain't got to agree, but I'm going to keep fighting that fight. And if we have to, we can make that a class-based situation. We can do that. But only as it pertains to U.S. citizens. We can't let in the world, the third world, and then say we got to help everybody that's poor. When you bring in more poor people. And Hakeem said something here that was very telling. He said, we want a bipartisan solution. How can it be a bipartisan solution if your solution is you want to keep undocumented people in America? Yeah, there's no. If one side says we need to deport people, if people have to be citizens to be in this country, and the other side says, well, not all the time. They should really have to be citizens. But we need to work it out. How can that work out? One person wants the heat on, one wants the air on. We're going to run both at simultaneously. It's a big waste of energy, a waste of time, and a waste of money and resources. Meanwhile, people that really need those resources go unserved. Secure border. I don't even know what a secure border means. They make it sound like this was an accident, fam. That's the most disgusting thing there is. This way, like, oh, it was the situation at the southern border. It wasn't a situation. You were letting people just come through the border. You weren't removing them. So those people got in America and they called their friends and said, hey, coast is clear. We got Biden in office. He's letting us come in. And then more people came. It's not difficult. Basically, the ice cream man came to town. Yeah, the ice cream man hit the block and the kids ice cream man hit the block and basically a couple kids ran back and told the other kids that the ice cream man was here. Ice cream man! That's what happened. But you let the ice cream man on the block. No ice cream man. There's no kids yelling ice cream man. No letting people through the border. There's nobody running back to tell people to come over the border. The same thing could be happening now. But once the word got out that Trump was deporting people, that it wasn't worth traveling thousands of miles to come to America unlawfully, they said, hey, I'm not going to make that trip. That's stupid. Let's find another thing to do. Hakeem and the Democrats want to frame it as if it's just something that happened like a virus, like catching the clap. Now, you didn't catch the clap. You went out, you was like, hey, are you unclean? Perfect. And let's not wear protection. Let's see what happens. I got a strong possibility I'm going to get burnt. But hey, let's go. And that's what happened with the Democratic Party, okay? Stop gaslighting everybody as if this was something that snuck up on you. Folks, for 3 or 4 years, for 3 of the Biden's years as president, the border was just running free. Biden he started shutting down the border in his 3rd year. People don't talk about this enough. Biden let the border open all the way until it was time for reelection. And when he decided, hey, I might want to get reelected, he shut things down somewhat. He turned the knob to close the gate. At one point, Biden was letting in as many as 300,000 people a month. Do you understand that? That's not an accident. If you're at a bar or if you're at a club, you ever work at a nightclub? I have. Well, I didn't work there, but I knew a guy who was throwing parties at a nightclub, and we had to watch the door. Part of it is you go around, you see, make sure people are collecting money from the people coming through the door because people be hooking their friends up. So if you throw an event, what the most important thing is having the right guys at the door. You got to have people that work for you who ain't trying to get a hookup. You charging $25 to come in, and he's taking 10 and let people come in. See? That's Biden. Biden had his people at the gate who just letting people in. If you don't stop that, you'll never stop the influx of people. That's the Democratic Party. Stop pretending that it was an accident. Stop pretending that if 300,000 people, if you at the door and a free, the capacity of the room is 1,000 and you just let in 5,000 people, it's pretty obvious. If you let in 300,000 people in 30 days come through the border, it's not an accident. It was a plan. Now, tell me where those people went and tell me what jobs they went to go get. And don't tell me they're all picking corn. They're all planting seeds and planting string beans. Tell the truth. Stop telling me about an old study that says, well, we're not really sure. What happened? Either they went on welfare or they got jobs. If they got jobs, did a bunch of new businesses pop up? So where they work at? It's like you people be insulting my intelligence. You don't want to agree with me, but then you don't have an answer. If I tell you damn near 20 million people came through the border in the last 4 years under Biden, and you say that doesn't hurt working class people, what jobs did they go get barely speaking English? Where'd they go then? And how are they living? So either they're getting free money or they have jobs. And what jobs are they getting in? And what sectors are they getting them? See, I don't have to wait for your sociologist. I don't have to wait for some Democrat think tank, right, to come tell me or to agree with me. I already know because I'm not an idiot, okay? I'm not a moron. I know that people require food. I know people require shelter. I know people have to have something to live on. And it's not magic. So then you tell me what happened. You tell me what happened, doctor, professor. Now you tell me that wherever city they're residing, wherever these people are at, were there people already there? Were there services already being given to people? What kind of budget do these cities or states have where they could just deal with that influx and then not jeopardize or and that destabilize the people that were already there, who are already paying into that system, that may be receiving those resources. Tell me how that even makes sense. But see, as we walk ourselves through the process of unpacking it, if we look at the framework of the situation, it's very clear that this was a bad situation and it was manufactured, created intentionally by an administration that wanted it to happen, or it wouldn't have happened. America is a world power. It's a superpower. You mean to tell me we can't close our border if we want to? You mean to tell me we don't know where people went? And now you want to convince me that when I say I'm advocating for working class people who live in cities all over this country, when I say working class, these are the people, remember 40% of America cannot afford a $400 emergency. If that happens today, they're borrowing money, starting GoFundMes, or selling shit out of their home. Those are the people that I advocate for. How can I advocate for those people and not address this issue? See, folks, what it is they want me to not give a shit. It's inconvenient for them that I care about my people. It's inconvenient for them that I'm not a sellout. See what I'm saying? That's all it is. Because they don't have answers to basic questions. And all the talking, all the greasy, manipulative narrative, all the $5 words doesn't get around me asking you a point blank question like, where'd the people go and how are they surviving in this rich ass, expensive ass country? How'd that happen? All right. Let me know what y'all think about this segment. I think I did it justice. Hakeem Jeffries, he may be the definition of empty suit, but that's only because he works for a party that's even emptier, not just in clothes, but in ethics. And talk, they have empty talk and platitudes for black people, no tangibles. If you're going to vote for him, at least get something out of it. Next.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.